of your homework are going to use the same formula. That's going to be this polygon angle sum theorem. Then you're going to have a formula for one angle and then a formula for exterior angles as well in regular polygons. We're going to start with the polygon angle sum theorem. In order to do these problems, though, we first need to talk about names of polygons because some of y'all were exposed to this, some of y'all were not. And there's two of them on here that I think are very uncommon to see. And so I want to make sure you remember these or see these before we get into having them. Do you have to name them for me on the test? No. Do you have to know how many sides it has before the test? Yes. So you've got to know what these actually are. So what is a three-sided polygon called, guys? Triangle. Perfect. Triangle. Now the generic name, not a square, not a rectangle, not a rhombus. What is the generic name for any four-sided? Quadrilateral. It's a long word. Quadrilateral. Okay, quad means four, lateral means sides. Quadrilaterals are four-sided figures. Quadrilateral. Okay, five-sided, like the building that got hit at 9/11. That's going to be what? I heard it. Where was it? Pentagon. Good. Pentagon. Pentagon. Good. Now these are pretty common. It's used in some strange places. Honeybees, their little hives have this shape in them. This is also used for turf because it doesn't slide. Squares slide when you use it. In the NFL, they use this shape as their turf shape. When they put down turf fields in the NFL, this is the shape they use. What's a six-sided called? Hexagon. Good. Hexagon. Okay, now 7 most people don't know. Anybody know it? What was it? That is an acceptable word, but that's not the most common one that you'll see. That is acceptable, though. They will see that sometimes, but on the EOS they use heptagon. 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 Septagon is actually correct, but you won't see it very often, and this book doesn't use it. Okay? Okay, 8-sided, it's like a stop sign. What's that going to be? Octagon. Octagon. Now 9 is not very common, but the name makes sense. It's 9, straightforward. It's like a different language for the word 9. It's called a nonagon. Most people don't have trouble remembering that one. Usually, heptagon is usually one of the harder ones, and then the 11 is kind of weird. Okay. Now 10 is used from another language's word for 10. It's called a decagon. Like a decade is 10 years long. Decagon. Oop, that's one too many O's. Decagon. A decade is 10 years. A decagon has 10 sides on it. Now the next one, bless you. The next two actually, but 12 is usually not as bad. For some reason people remember 12. 11 is harder. It's basically taking decagon and adding a number in front of it to put them together. It's like 1 and 10 makes 11, and then 2 and 10 makes 12. This is called a hendagon. Hendagon. I have to make sure I spelled it right because it's so uncommon. This one is, again, the other one that's pretty hard for people to remember. But once you see it, again, most people remember it because it's kind of unusual. Hendagon, hen means one, I think, in Greek. Okay, and then decagon. If I even wrote it correctly, I didn't write it correctly. Hendagon. No. I didn't write it correctly. I'll try that again. Decagon. I'll get the word to come out. Hen, meaning one, and then decagon. See, it's not very common. I don't say it very often. Decagon. Okay, hen meaning 1, decagon meaning 10. 1 and 10 is 11. Okay, 12, again, not as common, but most people for some reason remember this. What's 2 in Spanish? Dos. So it's like do, and then decagon, so it's like 2 and 10. Okay, for some reason more people remember that one. Do meaning 2, like dos. Dodecagon. A dodecagon is 2 plus 10, which is 12. Now anything beyond that is called an n-gon, and it's really easy to do those because it's like a 13-gon, 14-gon, etc. You can go up to any number you want it to. You'll see some that are 60-gons. You'll see them with lots of different numbers of sides, guys. So these are the ones you have to know. There are a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 that you have to know the name for. Again, are you going to have to write them down? No. Do you have to know how many sides they have? Yes. That's what I need you to be able to do. All right. Anything on the names of them before I move on? Anything about the names before we use them in formulas? Okay guys, here we go. So our formula that we're going to use for numbers 1 through 12 on our homework tonight, this is going to be for numbers 1 through 12 on the homework, is the sum of the interior angle formula. It is n minus 2 times 180. This is going to give you the total of the angles inside of a polygon. That's what the word sum means, adding them all up. If you add up all the interior angles inside a polygon, you can do that by doing n minus 2 times 180. So if we have a nonagon, how many sides does that have? 9. We're going to do 9 minus 2 times 180. Now you got to be careful on this calculator. Please listen to me. If you do not hit the equals button in between for the parentheses, you're going to get a different answer. So grab your calculators. Anybody else need to grab one? Okay, here we go. Do the 9 minus 2 first, hit equals. 9 minus 2 equals. Times 180 equals. What's that give you? 9 minus 2 equals 1 times 180 equals. What's that give you? 1260. Thank you. 1260. Got that finally. 1260. And put degrees on it. There you go. Is that what everybody got? I think that's what y'all were saying. I just couldn't hear you. Alright. If you're one of those people who wants to write out where it came from, 9 minus 2 is 7, and then 7 times 180 gives you that 1260. If you type it straight across without doing the equals in between for the parentheses, you're going to get it wrong. So you got to be careful how you type this one in. Okay, for the next one we're doing a 19gon. So a 19gon, we just use the 19. It's very straightforward. 19 minus 2 times 180. So do 19 minus 2, hit equals. Then times 180 equals. What's that give you? $52? 52 what? Okay, I'm so confused. What are the numbers? 020. That seems way too big to me. That sounds more like it. 3060? Okay, clear it out. Let's do it again. I think it should be 3060. Here's our chance to see why. So if you don't hit equals in between, it's going to give you that wrong number. So do 19 minus 2 equals, and then times 180 equals. If you don't hit that equal sign, it's going to mess you up. Because what it's doing is 19 minus the 2 times 180. It's really doing 2 times 180 first, and then doing it. It's going to mess you up. The calculator knows what order of operations is, and it's going to mess you up. You got to hit the equals for the parentheses. Did you get 3060 now? Everybody's good? Mm-hmm. Okay, here we go. So the next one is the exact same thing, but you're going backwards. Okay, you don't know how many sides it has. You already know the sum. You know what it's equal, the total is. So you're going to write the formula with the n in it. So you're going to write n minus 2 times 180 equals 1620. The only difference here is it's equal to something. I think these are the first ones on the back side. There's 4 of them on the back side. Okay. Every time they give you the total of the sum already and they want to know the number of sides, you do it backwards like this. So to do this, you're going to distribute that 180 to both these. It's going to be 180n minus what's 2 times 180? 360 equals 1620. We are going to add 360 to both sides. Add 360 to both sides. Plus 360 plus 360. It's going to give us 180n equals 1980. Perfect. Then we divide both sides by 180. And y'all, the pattern is the exact same every time. The only difference is what it's equal to. These follow the exact same pattern every time. The only difference is what it's equal to. And so when you do 1980 divided by 180, what do you get? 11. So this has 11 sides. That shape has 11 sides. That's what you would be putting as your answer. 11 sides. Okay? So the next one is exactly the same. The only difference is that instead of being equal to 1620, it's going to be equal to 3600. So you set it up the exact same way. N minus 2. Use this formula for everything except the last ones, guys. This formula is used for almost everything. N minus 2 times 180. And then it's equal to 3,600. You do the same thing you did on the other one, and y'all, it's the same numbers, like you don't even have to think about it. 180n minus, and it's still going to be 2 times 180 is still going to be 360 equals 3,600. You're going to add that 360 to both sides. It's going to give you 180n equals 3960. Okay? So that when you divide both sides by 180, n equals what? What was it? 22. 22. So this has 22 sides. Perfect. Does anybody have any questions on example numbers 1 through 4? Example numbers 1 through 4. Anything up till there? Everybody's good? Okay, here we go. So the next ones are going to be the same formula. We're still on the same thing. We just add in like an extra step with algebra to it. So we're still going to take the number of sides. How many sides does this shape have? Guys, the easiest thing to do is mark them off and count them. How many sides does it have? So it's still 4 minus 2 times 180. That same process that does not change no matter what we do. It is always n minus 2 times 180 if you're getting the sum. We need the sum to be able to do this problem. So what is 4 minus 2 times 180? Do the math at the equals in between. 4 minus 2 equals times 180 equals 360. Perfect. So we're going to add all this up and set it equal to 360. So it's algebra. It's just an algebra equation. X plus 42 plus 88 plus 93 equals 360. It does not make any difference what order you write those in, guys. As long as you add up those four things, it could have been 88 plus X plus 42 plus 93. It could have been in any order. I just wrote it like this because it was easy to combine like terms now. I need you to add up these three like terms so we can combine them. And we're going to write it as X plus whatever you get when you add those up. 223? That sounds right. Oh, you were putting the 360 with it? Yeah, just leave the 360 on the other side. I see what you did. Alright, good. Now we minus the 223, minus the 223, and X equal to what? 137? Y'all agree? Okay, perfect. So this would actually have two answers. If they're asking for X equals, it would be 137. But then actually this one's kind of unique because I also, if I plug that back in, that missing angle is also going to just be X, which means it's going to be 137 what? What do we put on there if we're doing an angle? Degrees. Good. And that would be my second part of my answer. Yeah, I've got to, because on the EOC they take, remember on the answers on Alex, they wouldn't give it to you unless you put that little degree symbol on it. So we got to make sure y'all do that when it's necessary. I'm not going to like mark the whole thing wrong. I just do like a point off on that. Okay. Anybody else? I'm big on partial. Okay, one more of these and then we'll do the last two formulas. This again, exact same, y'all, this looks horrendous. This actually gets very simple very quickly. I know it looks terrible. First of all, how many sides does it have when you count up the number of sides? It's 6. So 6 minus 2 times 180. You have to do the equals in between. 6 minus 2 equals times 180 equals 720. Sounds like we agree on that. Okay. Now this is going to look awful. I'm telling you up front. It looks terrible, and then it gets really easy really fast. So 4x plus 4x plus 2x plus 20 plus 2x plus 10 plus 3x minus 20 plus 3x minus 10 equals 720. That looks horrendous. However, in one step, we're going to take it from that to a one-step equation by doing one thing, combining like terms. So if we combine like terms, we need to combine the 4x, the 4x, the 2x, the 2x, the 3x, and the 3x. So grab your calculators. Okay. Do 4 plus 4 plus 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3. Hit equals 18. So 18x. Now this part's unique. Do this on your calculator. 20 plus 10 minus 20 minus 10. See what happens to it? What does it do to each other? It just cancels out. Will it do that every time? No. But this one does. So it's just 18x equals 720. Sometimes you'll have 18x plus something equals 720. You have to solve it like an equation. This one only has 18x equals 720. So then we would divide both sides by 18.
40.
And makes it x equals what? 40. Do y'all agree on the x equals 40 part?
Yes.
Okay. Now we do have to find the measure of each angle. So you're going to have an answer where you have to list out the angles, and there are 6 of them. So you do have to plug it back in for each one of those. And since there are 6 of them, I only have one problem like this on the homework tonight. Since there are 6 of them, it takes a minute. So it's going to be 4 times 40. What does that give you? 160. Now, do you see the next one's the same? Don't do that. 4 times 40 is just 160. And we're not doing that math again. It's just going to be 160 again. So there's 2 of them. Okay, on the next one. 2 times 40 plus 20. 100. Alright, now it's going to be 2 times 40 plus 10. 90. Let me look quick. The next one is 3 times 40 minus 20. What was that one? 100. And the last one is 3 times 40 minus 10. 110. There you go. There's your 6 angles. Okay. Now most of them will be like example 5. You have one problem like that on your homework where you have to plug it in for all of them. Okay. Does anybody see anything they need to ask about before we use the other formula? That's going to be for numbers 1 through 12. You're going to have to use that formula in some way, shape, or form. That will be for all the problems on the front of the worksheet and the top half of the back. The only ones that use the different formulas are going to be the ones where it asks for one interior and one exterior when you're dealing with regular polygons. Okay, before we do anything, we got to talk about what a regular polygon is. Anything on this before I go on? Okay, so we see regular polygons all the time in the real world. So a regular polygon is going to be a polygon. We've already defined that, so we can use that word in the definition. It is a polygon with all sides and angles congruent. So all the angles are congruent, all the sides are congruent. So what shapes in the real, what's the most common shape in the real world that is regular? Square. Look at the tile on the floor, look at the tiles on the ceiling, they're all squares. Okay? You're going to see squares everywhere. What's the one that we already named? What is it? What's the most common regular octagon? What shape, where do we see that at all the time? Stop signs. Stop signs are regular octagons, so they show up a lot. Okay, guys, so here we go. We are going to use the interior formula and the exterior formula. It is the exact same formula for interior. The only difference is once you get a total, you divide by the number of sides to get one of them. For exterior, it's just 360 divided by the number of sides. Alright, so here we go. It is a dodecagon. How many sides is that? 12. So it's going to be 12 minus 2 times 180 divided by 12. Okay, so write it down, then we'll grab our calculators. Let's do it together. Here we go. Clear it out. Whatever the number of sides is. So in this case, 12. Okay, here we go. Clear out your calculator. 12 minus 2 equals times 180 equals divided by 12 equals. It should give you 150 if you've done that one correctly. Good deal. 150 degrees. Anybody need me to type through it again? Gotta hit equals after each step. Okay. To get the other one, it's just 360 divided by the number of sides, which in this case is going to be 12. So just do 360 divided by your 12 on your calculators. 30. Now, do you notice anything about these two answers? They'll always add up to 180 if you've done them correctly. So that's a really easy way to check these. They should always add up to 180. That's a really easy way to check that you've got the right answer. If they add up to 180, you've done it correctly. Alright? Okay, guys, here we go. Last one, a 40gon. 40 minus 2 times 180 divided by 40. Try typing it yourself. I don't want to say it. I want you to try typing and getting it right on your own. Try typing that. See what you get. 171? Yes? Okay. 171 degrees. Okay. To get the other one, it's going to be 360 divided by 40. Oh, and you can get some that are decimals, guys. Be prepared. It's okay. You just round to the nearest tenth. We're going to go to 1 decimal. If you have that, it says it in the directions, but just so you know. What's they give you? 9. And does that add up to 180? Yeah. Yep, so you're good. There you go, guys. That's your notes for today. Anybody see anything they need to ask about before we get started on our assignment for today? Okay, just so we're clear.